What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another post game here on Rangers Central. And the Rangers defeat the Seattle Kraken. Shaky first two periods. Jonathan Quick stands on his head. And the third period, the Rangers play probably their best period of the entire night. And they end up getting the job done to win this game 2-0, a late night stream here. But yeah, we're going to talk about it, jump into everything. Before we jump into everything, please be sure to leave a like on the post game if you do enjoy. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans, and turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live on the channel. This was an interesting game. It was a very interesting game because the first two periods had me ready to go ballistic. It really did. And not that the third period was some masterpiece by any means, but they were doing things right that I've been wanting them to do for weeks now. And that is to just play a simple game. They were playing a way more simple game in the third period. And even the first 5 minutes of the game, I was complimenting them and I was ready to start gassing them up, and then all of a sudden it's just like, nope, they revert back to opening up the neutral zone, playing too much east-west, doing way too much in terms of the passes in general. Just like, forget east-west for a second, they couldn't make simple passes, let alone trying to even go east-west, and even then they were just not playing good enough hockey the first two periods, and it looked brutal. The second period was just god-awful. That was probably the worst period of the entire game. But the third period, they locked it down, and it is about time that they do that in front of their goalie, because last time Jonathan Quick was rolling into the third period with a shutout, they did not play good in front of him, and it looked like a game that they were going to lose. At least tonight, they gave him a little more support in the third period, played a little bit more of a safer game. It would be nice if they played that way more often. But again, they're not going to do that. It is what it is. I'm just going to accept that. But they had they had a couple of good individual performances here and there. Like, that's really what sums up this game. And I think Matt, who I'm gonna read his text. Matt summed it up perfectly in the group chat. And this was after the second period when we were really annoyed about them. And he was saying, let's see if I could find it exactly. I want to find exactly what he said. Did I skip past it? I don't know why I don't see it. I think I skipped past it. Let's see. I cannot find it. Oh my God. Where is it? Here we go. This is what I was looking for. The Rangers are a good team. Look, they win. I need to reread that. The Rangers are a good team. Look, they win many games. No, the Rangers don't win games as a team. They win games based on moments from individual talent. That ship may fly in the regular season, but against bad teams, or against bad teams, but in the playoffs against good teams, like we saw last year with Florida, it is not going to fly. I agree with that. Agree with that entirely. They need to play better for a full 60, especially because what they were doing in the third period, controlling the gaps better, playing better in the neutral zone. I mean, the way Zach Jones specifically, Zach Jones was easily the best defenseman the entire night. And I wish the entire team would just look at the way he's playing. And it's unbelievable that this guy was scratched for multiple games at the beginning of the season. The way that he's able to get out of pressure from forechecks coming in from Seattle, because Seattle was just forechecking like they were the Florida Panthers at points in this game. The way that he was able to do that, break the puck up the ice, able to set up plays in transition, that is what they needed more of throughout the entirety of the game and from the entirety of the season. They need to be playing him night in, night out. Now that Mancini's not up, I'm not as worried about that, but it is unbelievable that he wasn't even getting viable minutes at points to start the season, when it's clear as day he's their best defenseman. And there were times where they were doing that, a better job of that. And the individual moments he's referring to is the second period, because the second period, late in that period, Keandre Miller broke up a breakaway opportunity. You had Ryan Lindgren back check, a really good back check to break up what would have been a goal. And then you had the great pass from Panarin to Lafreniere, which opened up the scoring in the second period. And that was pretty much the highlights for the second period, honestly. Like, that right there was pretty much all they did that was good that period, because outside of that, Seattle was just outworking them on the forecheck. Seattle was generating more offense. They were playing to east-west the Rangers, pretty much every single habit that we've talked about. And even at points in the first period, but it was really bad, in my opinion, in the second period, and they were not generating enough offensively. And my problem is still this with the offense, that they're way too one and done. And what was blowing my mind at points this game that I really noticed is there was a stretch, I would say, from about the halfway point of the first to the end of the second period, where they were just, instead of breaking the puck out cleanly and going up the ice with puck support, they were just going up. They were just flipping the puck in the neutral zone and then trying to cheat for offense and generate off the rush that way. You can't do that. You can't do that. You just cannot do that. And I know that you're playing a team that isn't that great. It's not working against them. It's not going to work against the better teams. You cannot be doing that in general. They need to stop trying to force the home run passes. And I think they did a good job of that in the third period in terms of moving the puck up the ice better and in terms of clogging the neutral zone better, especially with that, and just a lot more puck support at times, because someone that does deserve a huge shout out tonight, Vinny Trocheck, who I thought played one of his better games of the season. There was one shift, I believe it was late in the, I believe it was the third period. Everything blends with me at points where Ryan Lindgren's struggling at the top of the zone to keep the puck in, and Vinny Trocheck comes in, provides puck support, and keeps the pressure going for that line. That's what you want to see more of from him, especially from someone that hasn't been producing as much late, or not producing, but at least hasn't visibly looked good throughout the season thus far. You want to see more of that from Vinny Trocheck, and I thought that line in particular yet again looked good. The first line had a couple of moments, at least defensively. The third line, though, is going to be a problem without Phil Peedle. It's going to be a problem without Heedle. They were hemmed in their own end way too much. They looked lackluster without Phil Peedle tonight, and they were not generating as much as they usually do. And I'm not surprised by it, because I felt that that line was really thriving off of Phil Peedle mostly, and it was clear as day. But yeah, I mean, they had no high danger chances generated. They didn't even really have the puck much in the offensive zone. Just not a good night from them really at all. Though the fourth line was good. Thought the fourth line was good again. And I thought Jimmy Vesey had a very solid game for the most part throughout the entire 60. I thought he stood out the most. There was also that one play, though, where Adam Edstrom, again, Jones, that play there where he set up Adam Edstrom to go full steam ahead to get that opportunity. And Zach Jones ended up scoring tonight, too. Just making beautiful plays on one end of the ice, going up and then getting it done on the other end, which Grubauer, yikes, he should have made that save. But still, it's just, again, Zach Jones is doing everything for this team right now on the blue line, and especially when Schneider, in my opinion, did not have a great game. I thought Zach Jones did unbelievable, picking up the load for what Schneider wasn't providing. But yeah, again, just another great night from him. The Trouba-Lindgren pair, I'm not in love with still. I'm not in love with how Miller played most of the game. Obviously, he had that one play, but not in love with that. But yeah, in terms of everything else that happened tonight, I think I pretty much broke down everything I needed to, because, again, not good first period, not good second period. Third period, a lot better. Third period was a lot better. Will they follow it up by playing that way? I don't know. But either way, I still want to see them generate more. I would have liked to have seen them generate a bit more, because Seattle did have a lot of slop in their game in the third period, and I thought the Rangers maybe could have jumped on it a bit more and maybe generate a bit more quality opportunities. They didn't, but it is something that I'd like to see going forward, if I'm going to nitpick anything, because I thought, again, in general, they did play better defensively in that third period, and their gap control was just so much better. They were getting better puck support up the ice, and that's what you want to see more of. But yeah, I just didn't like the first two periods. The first two periods made me feel didn't make me feel great entirely, but we'll see how they fare in Vancouver. I think they play Vancouver next, but we'll see how they fare there. But yeah, I think that's really all I wanted to break down. So I'll get to the chat now. Before we jump into that, though, like I said, leave a like if you haven't already. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're a Ranger fan, and turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live on the channel. Let's see who's in the chat late night here on a Sunday night, because I don't expect many people here. Quick is insane. You're damn right. Good game by Quick. Another typical Rangers win. Nothing new. Bailed out by goaltending once again. The first two periods, yeah. I mean, not ideal stuff. Like that they didn't sit back in the third or change. That I agree with. And I like how, again, they weren't just flipping pucks in the neutral zone to try and cheat for offense. They were playing a more simple game, which I liked. I'd like to see them, again, be able to generate more off the forecheck and off the cycle, because their cycling is just passing along the perimeter and not really getting to the middle of the ice, doing much there. I'd like to see them do more of that off the forecheck still. But there were times the forecheck was just sloppy in general. Like, the fourth line is sending sending the house in on the forecheck, and then I'm watching the second line go out there, and it's just Panarin in at points alone on the forecheck. You can't be doing that. It can't be that way. You need to have they have to forecheck a lot better still. They just do, especially against a team that you should be dominating and you should be beating them with your forecheck. Like, Seattle's a team that you should be annihilating, and I would just like to see a bit more of that from this team, but we didn't see much of that, unfortunately, tonight. And there is something I did want to mention with the third line, too, because I'm sure the comments are going to be saying that, because Johnny Brodzinski pissed me off. I don't understand. There was one play, I think it was the second period, where there was an odd man rush against, because Johnny Brodzinski, for whatever reason, goes for a change. You cannot be going for a change there. You just can't. He did not play great tonight, in my opinion. This team, if Heedle's out for a long time, they have to make a move for a center at a very quick point, because Johnny Brodzinski, he's fine as a 13th forward. You can't do what you did last year, where you're going the long haul with him going forward. Play an okay game. I agree. Thanks to a solid third. We had moments in the first and second, but it was Quick that won it. I agree. It was an okay game. It wasn't great or anything. It was okay. I think that's the perfect way to sum that up. It was an okay win. Came from the next game and caught the second period in the car in third at home. Looked decent from afar. Good win. Quick looks outstanding. Wish I was at the next game. I might go tomorrow. I don't know. But watching from the next game at least a bit. Knicks and Rangers win. Yep. We like that. Miller still way too sloppy with the turnovers. Yeah. I know he had that one good defensive play to stop the breakaway, but his mental errors cannot go unnoticed. Yeah, I agree with that. He was still making a lot of mistakes tonight. 100%. 100%. I would like to, but I don't know when I'm ever going to be able to go out there. Third line, misses Heedle, bad. Yeah, he was clearly the speedy, skilled play driver. They were hemmed in their own zone a lot the first two periods, which is something we didn't see much before. Yeah, pretty much what I was just saying. Yeah, they need to get a long-term fix for that third line, because this game showed that 3C and other puck movers on defense is needed. That third line was bad without Heedle, and the overall breakouts tonight, aside from Jones and Fox, were not good. Exactly, yeah. They were just flipping the puck, and they were icing the puck way too much at points, too, in this game. And you can't be doing that. You just can't. Ideally, Keandre should become develop into a elite puck mover, but the way he just is sloppy with the puck, 25 years old already, we just aren't going to see much growth. This is just who he is. Yeah, I agree there. I always felt that this is the year we have to see a significant stride. And I know that people are going to continue to point to the one play he made and say that he had a good night because of it. But we need to see way more from him, and we're just not. It brings up an interesting conversation, especially because there was that article from Vince that dropped not too long before puck drop that the Rangers might be interested in a top 4 defenseman come the deadline. And if that is the case, then they might have to explore moving Miller, because there is no way in hell Zach Jones could be out of the lineup anymore. It's got to be either Lindgren or Miller, because obviously Trouba's not going anywhere. Fox, you're not doing anything with him. So that narrows your options down. Yeah, I forgot to even mention Lafreniere, especially that one opportunity that he had late in the game where he was just blowing by defenders and blowing through the neutral zone. He was flying all night, but that one play in particular where he drives to the net, gets that opportunity. That line was going tonight. That line looked like they did at a lot of points of last year, which, again, I obviously still have my worries and had my worries going into the season about how much of what they did last year is going to translate into the season. But they were great tonight. The third did not have 2 high danger chances in the first. Kakko hit the side of the net, and just before Brodzinski rung it off the iron. Or you're saying they did. Those weren't qualified as high danger chances, though, because of where they were shooting the puck from. That's why they weren't high danger chances. They were probably mid danger chances, but those aren't considered high danger chances, where it has to be from a different point of the ice. Like if you're talking about the slot and below the hash marks, especially, like those are better opportunities. Need to be better in their own end. I think they still have more room to be better offensively, though. That's the thing. Like, as much as we look at some of the numbers and analytics about how they are offensively, I still think they could unlock another gear if they get their forecheck right, which, based on the fact that we're 16 games in and there really hasn't been any pulse of a quality forecheck, I'm going to go with the fact that it's not going to happen. But if they got their forecheck going and were able to generate off of that, I think this offense would have another element to their game that they could really utilize. But unfortunately, I don't know if that's going to be the case. But again, that's just my opinion on that. Edstrom's not going to play center, probably. Yeah. I don't think they're going to play Edstrom at center. Yeah. 200-foot play there from him. Vancouver's going to be a tough one. They've been in a little bit of a skid of their own, so I don't know. But either way, if you're as good as I think you are, then you should be beating them regardless, because I demand greatness personally. So I was just looking over to see if the Chargers won, and thankfully they did, because I have a bet with my brother, and I picked the Chargers. Kakko on a 46-point pace, currently a +10, not spectacular, but definitely good third line numbers. The problem is that I think now that Heedle's down, you're going to notice that the production's going to go down, unfortunately. Right on cue, as I asked. What's scary is I don't know who they replace Heedle with without donating a ton of assets. We're already short due to the last few deadlines. That's why I wanted them all offseason to acquire. Like, that's what pissed me off when I saw the article, because it was like top 4 defensemen and a center, because I was screaming the entire offseason they need to get a center in case Hedl gets injured, and they need to get a defenseman because Ryan Lindgren's not cutting it, and they didn't do either, and now they're going to have to spend more assets to fill both of those needs potentially. Jonathan Quick, American Hero, bailing us out as usual. If this is how he's playing, do you think we sign him as a backup next season if he's interested in playing another year? Depending on how the rest of the season goes, like you mentioned, I mean, if you're saying it in that regard, then yeah. I think there's a chance he could stay, although they're going to have to make a decision on Garand at some point, because it's either you're going to give him the backup role or you're not at some point. I'm curious, how is he performing right now in Hartford? Because they have to make a decision on that at some point, because there's only so much time he could spend in the AHL. I mean, he's putting up his best season thus far, a .915 right now, 2.52 goals against average, 5-1-1 record right now. He's playing his best hockey that he has in the A outside of the postseason, because he's just on another level when the playoffs come around in the AHL. But yeah, he's performing better. So that is going to be a tough conversation if that ends up being the case. But again, there's only so much room for Garand to grow, because I don't know how much, if he puts up these type of numbers, I don't know how much room there is left for him in the A to grow at that point. And I know they're not going to be able to replace Phil's skill set, and that's a problem, but they're going to have to find somebody that's more viable than this. I don't know who's available. No one's really available right now. I mean, it's November. That's the problem. But that's got to be Drury's job. He's got to find someone that we don't know about that's available. I mean, Pittsburgh's having a fire sale. You could look at a Blake Lizotte type if Hedl goes on LTIR and you wanted to go the route of acquiring someone that's a little bit pricey. There's also what was the other team? Anaheim's a team that I could see moving a couple of pieces, but I don't really know what centers you could really get from them. There's really no one outside of Zegras, which no thanks. There's really not a lot out there. Buffalo's rumored to maybe be on the market to make trades. Not a lot there. I mean, Peyton Krebs really is what you're looking at, because I'm not interested in Sam Lafferty, especially at that cap hit, and especially for 2 years at that cap hit. No, I'm okay. And outside of that, I mean, really not a lot out there. Really not a lot out there. Unless the Nashville Predators all of a sudden want to blow the ship up and they want to trade Tommy Novak, which I think he's an underrated player. I would take him, but he also has terms of him, so it's a little tricky. Again, it's tough to talk about this in November. It's really tough because you're not going to find a lot of quality pieces to acquire this time of year. That's really the unfortunate part. Should vlog next game. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't that was also a little challenging to vlog that. Sitting there with my phone out the whole game. I don't know. When I go to games, I just like to enjoy it. I liked doing it the one time, but I don't know if I'll do it that much. But I do appreciate that you liked it. I really do. They're gonna have to make a decision by December, in my opinion, on that with Hedl, because if you don't have an answer by then that's a problem. But where's Greg Vetrano? Vancouver down to Nashville. Yeesh. Gotta move Keandre and a Matthias Ekholm Barry type deal. I agree with that. I'm not trying to see a third round pick for CC. Yeah. They're going to have to, I don't know who they're going to get defense-wise either, because that's the other thing. Like, with the top 4 defenseman thing, outside of Marcus Pettersson, I don't really have interest in a lot of these guys that could be available come the deadline. Let's see, who are pending UFAs after this season that could be helpful to the Rangers? I want to find centers. I like to find centers. Here we go, centers. That's specifically what I want to look at. You got, if Montreal sells, you got Christian Dvorak. I'm not that interested in him, but it is a name. Yanni Gourde, who we saw tonight, is a guy that I would definitely explore. But again, that's going to be a long ways away before they declare selling. Like, the problem is the teams that you would want pieces from, they're a ways off from selling. Claude Giroux, I would love if Ottawa slipped and they were able to get him, but unfortunately with that, Claude Giroux denied a trade here a couple of years ago. I don't think he would do it. I don't think he would come here. Sean Corrali from Columbus, which I joked about the Rangers being interested in him. Nick Bjugstad's available, but he's done nothing this season. And I don't know if he's been hurt or if he's just literally done nothing because he has no points right now. Let's say, no, he's hurt. He hasn't played this season, so that could be a name out there. Nico Sturm. Jake Evans is a name that I've liked over the past few years, but I don't know. They could reunite with old friend Kevin Rooney. But there's not a lot out there. And then defense-wise, there's really not a lot of names, so I'm definitely interested to see how that fiasco is going to unravel. Yeah, I saw that Keandre Miller quote. I didn't like that. I don't like that you're just like, we played good defensively, but when we did allow quality chances, Quick was there. It's great that you have him, but you should be saying we should be playing better in front of him and not allowing any of those chances, but whatever. Thoughts on Mika tonight? He was all right. I mean, I didn't love some of the things he was doing. I thought he was a victim of trying to cheat for offense at points. I thought he was a victim of not being good along the boards tonight. Like, there was one player where he's getting out-muscled by Matty Beniers. Didn't like that, but he was all right. You know, like the shorthanded play. Again, he was doing good things on special teams, and there were a couple decent moments at 5-on-5, but it just, you want to see more. Yeah, pretty much. They're backed into a corner, and they have no second-round picks until like 2030 right now. That's another problem. They have no second-round picks. Thoughts on the Reeves suspension? I think he should have been suspended longer. I think that's ridiculous. That was a brutal hit, and he's a guy that's done it multiple times. He should have been suspended for way longer than 5 games, but Malkin's not going to be moved. He's going to want to stay there. It's already been said by him that even if they blow up the team and rebuild, he wants to stay. So I don't know if Laba's going to be... maybe Laba comes over. I don't know. Maybe he does, but I don't know if you want to count too much on Noah Laba. That's the problem. I like Laba, and I like what he could be, but that's a really difficult position to put a guy in. I mean, if there's literally nothing out there, then sure, but that's a really tough position to put him in. Carlson's available, yeah. Patrick Nemeth. Max Domi's not going to be moved. And I don't think the Rangers... I don't think Max Domi is what the Rangers need. I don't think they need a Max Domi. I've brought him up in the past as a guy that I would like. I don't know if I'm that interested. I really don't know. I mean, he's a guy that's been a passenger his whole career, and even in Toronto as a passenger, he's not putting up that many points. I don't know if I'm about Max Domi, and either way, Toronto's not going to sell. They're not moving him, and they just extended him too. He still has 4 years on that deal, so he's not available. I can't wait for Mickey to say we're getting Kane again. Yeah. Love Yanni Gord. Yeah, I would like Yanni Gord. I think that's the best option right now for what this team could use center-wise come the deadline, at least as of today. Yeah, but there is a world where he could play in the NHL technically. Yeah, okay, okay, Griffin, yeah. Same guy. 5-game Saucy for a repeat offender on the world's latest open ice hit is soft as hell. If Trouba and Rebby pulled that, they would have been taken out back and executed. Yeah. That's the other thing. There was no huge reaction the way there would have been if it was Trouba or Rempe, which is also annoying, but it is what it is. Kraken have been on a tear lately. Good win. They have. They beat the Islanders yesterday. And when I watched that game, though, man, I was sitting there doing my scouting, if you will. And I was like, the Rangers have to win this game. When I was sitting there watching it yesterday, I'm like, tomorrow the Rangers got to win this game because there's no chance in hell you should be losing to this team. And I don't love that it was close, but they beat them. I would have liked them to annihilate them because Seattle did not look great yesterday, in my opinion. But that was not the case. Yeah, you're not fooling me twice, Griffin. Thoughts on Decision being called up? It is what it is. He's the 13th forward. He's the 13th forward. I don't really have many thoughts on that. It kind of is what it is. He's here. As long as you don't have to play him for an extended period of time, then we're fine. Like, that's when we'll have issues, obviously. Yeah, I saw that. That was brutal. That was brutal. What about trading for Shane Wright? I'm not interested in a project. Like, that's why when people mention Zegras, I'm not interested in a project. This team needs someone that has experience. You know what? This is why I'm saying Yanni Gord, a guy that's been there, done that in the playoffs, a guy that you know what you're getting and isn't a project. Like, I don't think the Rangers should be getting a project type player unless it is somebody that is on a very cheap cap hit. Like, someone mentioned Peyton Krebs, and I don't love the idea, but I could at least be on board because his cap hit's low. You can't trade for, I don't know. I'm not about the experiment. Yeah, the ship has sailed there. I agree. And either way, I don't think this team's going to be in the market for a winger come the deadline. The only chance there is if they want to bolster the fourth line, in my opinion, which even then, I don't know really where you will. Because this is a thought I had during this game, actually. I love Edstrom and I love the way he's playing, but I could really see a world where it's like last year where the Rangers just trade for a veteran and he just becomes the odd man out because he's younger, doesn't have that much experience. I could see a world where they do that, but this team isn't going to be in the market for a winger. How's Gord help us beat Florida? He did it plenty of times in Tampa. Did it plenty of times. And he's a guy that quite literally picked up and put on his back Barclay Goodrow and Blake Coleman to get the contracts that they did. He would be such a good fit for the Rangers. And I know that you're saying 33, but you're not acquiring anybody at the deadline, really. That's a pending UFA at a young age. That's really unrealistic to ask for, unless you're taking a flyer on a guy like Zegras, who I mentioned, which no, you're not doing that. I think Yanni Gord would be a perfect fit. I mean, the guy thrives on the big stage. The guy drove that third line in Tampa. I thought he played a solid game tonight too. I thought he was very noticeable, a lot on the forecheck. I thought he was very solid, and he had a couple quality opportunities. I want to see how many high danger chances he had, because he looked good out there in my opinion tonight. Let's see. Where is it? Individual high danger chances. He definitely had at least one tonight, I feel like. Let's see. Yanni Gord. Yeah, he had one. I thought maybe he had two. I don't know. I thought he had two, but I thought he had a great night. And he's a guy that could help you on the special teams too. And not that the penalty kill necessarily needs... the penalty kill's been fine, so it's not like it necessarily needs an upgrade, but it doesn't hurt to have an extra body that could go out there and kill penalties. I'm not about Andrew Kopp right now. I'm not about that right now. What would I give up for Gord? I don't know what a trade comparable would be right now. You'd have to ask me that come February, because right now I don't know. Maybe it would cost what they gave up for Wenberg last year. The problem is you don't have any second round picks, so you might have to replace that with a prospect. But I'd have to look at more trade comparables from years prior. And yeah, it makes no sense how they're a bigger threat. What's going on, NYR? What's going on? Much better performance tonight. Mika looked better, a sign of hope. He was all right, yeah. But yeah, a solid performance. Wonder if the Avs might be interested in a Keontre for Samuel Girard trade. I don't think that they will, but an interesting idea. I don't know. I don't know if they would do that, because I think they like Sam Girard. I don't know what the comparable would be with that either. Like, if they moved Miller in that Barry for Ekholm type deal that we're talking about, that I'd have to like really dig deep into to figure out who that could be. Maybe. Do I think the Rangers go out and get Marcus Pettersson? Do I think they will? Probably not, because I think that a lot of teams are going to be interested in him, and I think he's going to cost the first round pick at least. With how many teams are going to be in the market for him, I mean, there's already a laundry list of teams lined up for his services. Like, Winnipeg is already interested heavily. What was the other team I saw earlier today? There was another team. I saw a report today. I forgot what other team, but there was another team interested in him. He's going to go for a very good package, and I don't know if the Rangers are going to offer that up. I don't know if they will. What is the most realistic trade we make this year? I'll answer this, and then I'm going to wrap it up for the night. Realistic, if you're talking about position-wise, because I can't give names right now. It's November. If you're talking position, depending on Hedl, they're going to get... I mean, even without Hedl, I think they get a center in case this happens again. I at least would hope. I think they get a 13th/12th rotational forward, and I think they get a defenseman. I think their biggest name will be a defenseman, then it will be the center, and then obviously the depth player. But yeah, we will see how that goes, and we will see how the next game goes as they play Vancouver on, when is it? Tuesday, right? I believe it's Tuesday. Let's see. Yeah, Tuesday. So we will be here to break it down. Thank you. The Canucks, that was the other team. Yes. Thank you, Matt. But yes, that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans. Turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live on the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next one.